The White House is facing the reality that justice is best meted out with a lawfully appointed prosecutor. A federal judge has dismissed criminal cases against two of President Trump's political adversaries after finding that the U.S. attorney that Trump handpicked to prosecute them was illegally appointed. Former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James are celebrating their legal wins tonight, but the dismissals had nothing to do with the actual merit of their cases. Comey was charged with false statements and obstruction, James with bank fraud. Instead, it all had to do with Lindsay Halligan. She's Trump's former personal lawyer who is now serving as the interim prosecutor for the Eastern District of Virginia. The problem is the Senate never confirmed her, that's why she's interim, or her predecessor for those roles. And the law clearly states a president can only appoint one interim prosecutor to be a U.S. attorney. Halligan was the second. The judge, however, dismissed the cases today without prejudice, which means the DOJ can refile these cases with a lawfully appointed U.S. attorney. Attorney General James says she's, quote, heartened by today's victory. And James Comey said this ruling sends a message that the DOJ can't be used to target political enemies. But he also acknowledged that this may not be the end of his legal problems, at least under a Trump presidency.
I know that Donald Trump will probably come after me again, and my attitude is going to be the same. I'm innocent, I am not afraid, and I believe in an independent federal judiciary, the gift from our founders that protects us from a would-be tyrant.
Let's go right now to NewsNation's Kellie Meyer, live for us at the White House. Kellie, the White House is already vowing to appeal this decision.
Yeah, Elizabeth, very soon, the White House telling us today, if they haven't already. That's what White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt told us here on the driveway just a few hours ago. She says Lindsay Halligan is extremely qualified for the job and defends that she was legally appointed. And we just heard from Attorney General Pam Bondi echoing that same sentiment in a press conference just a short time ago. Listen to this.
We'll be taking all available legal action, including an immediate appeal, to hold Letitia James and James Comey accountable for their unlawful conduct. I'm not worried about someone who has been charged with a very serious crime. His alleged actions were a betrayal of public trust.
Now, the Justice Department could appeal the decision or try to bring the charges under a different U.S. attorney. The judge who moved to scrap the cases was a Clinton appointee. And Karoline Leavitt also said today Comey should, quote, pump the brakes on his victory lap. President Trump, we haven't seen, he said his reaction was, we haven't seen this, or we've seen this before, rather, though we haven't heard from him directly on this yet. He kept today's executive order signing closed to the press. The first time we will see him is tomorrow at the turkey pardon at noon. Elizabeth.
And Kellie, other big news coming out of the White House today. The president says he has accepted an invitation from the Chinese president to visit Beijing in April. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, a big phone call this morning between President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping. The first time the two really have spoken since that high-stakes face-to-face meeting about 3 weeks ago in South Korea. The president saying today that they had a positive call. The White House press secretary coming out here and saying that the call lasted about an hour. They talked about everything from fentanyl to soybeans to farmers, and they also said they would visit each other's countries. The president saying on X, pretty much providing his own readout of the call, saying President Xi invited me to visit Beijing in April, which I accepted, and I reciprocated, where he will be my guest for a state visit in the U.S. later in the year. He called the relationship with China, quote, extremely strong. He also said they plan to keep in touch. Elizabeth.
All right, Kellie Meyer reporting live from the White House. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.